Okay, it looks like we're going away. Oh, Hangouts is going away later this year. For quick streaming, try YouTube webcam. That sounds bad. Don't really like that. Things changing. That sounds bad. Yes, Laura, you're first. Good job. Yes, okay. I'll have to bloody check that out sometime. Hey, Nogue, a musical aviator. How's it all going? Yes, I'm just getting a little pop-up on my thingy saying they're changing how you live stream on YouTube. I don't know why. Maybe just hit something I shouldn't have. I hope it doesn't kill the stream. No, I killed that. I think I was going to cause trouble. I'll have to check it out next time. Hey, Justin, how's it going? Kill that. Kill that. So, Laura, well, this is the first time for everything. Here you go. God damn, Music Over, you did a 19-hour live stream that YouTube deleted. Why was it deleted? That sucks. Oh, that's good. My lemonade. Yeah, so I wonder if YouTube has fucked up live streaming for me again, or if they're claiming it's easy to use. So maybe it's easy because the way YouTube, like I never used to live stream on YouTube because it was impossible or difficult. And it's one years in the past I'd used things like Blog TV and whatnot. And when I decided to start live streaming again, YouTube had made it easy, and that was good. And then they made it hard. And it's this bizarre shit where they're saying, "Oh, now download this plugin. Now download it," and it's like, what the fuck? And then they made it easy again with Google Hangouts, and now they're killing that. So, yay, YouTube. They deleted it if it's too long. Actually, I didn't think they let live streams go that long. I thought there was like an 8-hour limit on live streams or something. I have not explored that. I think the longest I've done a live stream is about 4 hours. And I haven't done that for a long time. Election night, I did 3 hours. If it had been a good election night, I would have done a very long live stream, 4, 5, 6 hours, getting super blotto smashed, but it was such a shit result. It was just too depressing to keep drinking alcohol. So I stopped drinking alcohol and went to bed. Yeah, that was shit as that was. Music for aviator saying it's an 8-hour limit for being able to retrieve. Okay, so they let you keep streaming live, but they stopped saving the video at that point. That makes sense. So yeah, hopefully YouTube's not going to fuck up live streaming for me. Although maybe them being stupid heads as they often are, they'll push me to finally go on what do you call it? Twitch. I keep meaning to try out Twitch and then can't be bothered because just having to learn something sucks. Justin, what election will I live stream next? I don't know. The US presidential election? I don't even know how long does that usually go? I don't even know if that's worth it. What's that, Laura? Hangouts have glitches. Could join your stream and eject you so you can't rejoin. They claim this is a feature. I'm not sure what you're saying there. Me as the owner of the stream can certainly eject people so they can't rejoin. Are you saying a viewer can eject the person running the live stream. I wouldn't be surprised if they had that sort of glitch. Just wouldn't be surprised at all, quite honestly. Logitech camera settings. I was just because I'm bored, and this could be a very bad idea. Going to play with the settings on the camera, and I see if I put the brightness down a little bit. Maybe have the contrast a bit. Oh yeah, and do the color intensity. Oh wow, that's making my spots. Wow, I don't know how it looks to you, but I feel like it makes me look really mutated. Oh wow, look at that. Oh yeah, that's see, I knew I'd get into playing this. Okay, that's a bit better. But if we do color into, oh yeah, look. Oh my God, I look like one of the guys from Chernobyl now. I've got radiation burns. Ugh. That's not very appealing, is it? No, let's go back to my pasty self. Oh, it's the white balance. Oh, white balance is on auto. But if I move the white, ooh, yeah, look, red or blue. Okay. Maybe. And get rid of contrast a bit too. I'm just going this white balance. That's actually okay. I don't know. Oh, Laura, it's definitely I'm old and can't deal with change. Oh wow. I think have I killed my live setting? What have I done? My camera's frozen. What's this? Oh no, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Okay, I need to check a couple of things. Oh no, I killed my live stream. Oh no, what have I done? I'm back. What the heck? Did my voice go away at all? Well, I'm back. I don't know. Okay. Hi, Jessica. Yeah, that's Chuck. So if Mimsy arrives, Mimsy gets to replace Chuck. I was playing with the controls, which I really shouldn't have done, but I'm back now. So that's all good. Man, I really like that drink. Okay, we went podcast mode. That's good. Hey, speaking of podcasts, like I did that one more or less trial of a podcast with AngryAussie, which I was quite happy with, and the feedback was quite good. But one of the reasons I haven't done that before, and we also don't have a second episode, is with AngryAussie's health problems, it's very hard to predict when he's available. And I don't just want to do it. I could obviously easily do it on my own. I just don't want to. So chatting on to interwebs today with another friend who, what did I get on my thumb? Yeah, that looks really gruesome. I think it's jam or something when I was cooking dinner. Wow, weird. Just looked really gross. So yeah, chatting with a friend today, the fabulous Eva, who people with long memories will remember from a few years ago. It's quite a few years ago now, 3-4 years ago at least. I was regularly doing videos with Eva, and she moved up to Queensland when I stopped making videos with her. But I was just saying, hey, do you want to like we'll hook up via Skype or whatever, and record it, and we'll make it a podcast. And she said, yeah, let's do that. So I'll probably record the first of those this week. So what I want to do, I guess, is not do it alone. Maybe with a regular co-host, maybe with different co-hosts. I'm very keen on getting lots of different people involved. And I have to admit, yeah, one of the things I really didn't want to do is a podcast that's just white guys talking, because there are far too many of those, quite honestly. So if I can get a diversity of co-hosts or guests, I will be very happy. So that's something I'm going to work on, and we will see how that goes. Thank you for the vote of confidence, Jessica. I think it will be good too. Eva is a very good co-host, and she's published a book recently. It'll be one of the things to do it. I'm not going to think when I say made it to the end of another week. It's a subtle message to AngryAussie. Yeah, well, it continues to be at least mildly surprising. He keeps going. My last communique with him about what was happening. When's he going into hospital? I feel like this is not going to be a pleasant hospital stay for him, that he's really going to have the shits. The way he says, going in on the 29th, and he says they're looking at messing with his anxiety drugs and banning him from vaping. So that's going to put him in a bad mood. Yeah, and he's freaking out a little bit about the things they're saying they're going to do. So this is the 29th. So I might be able to get him this week. He was too stressed last weekend to do it. Might get him this weekend. I did see that. For those who didn't see it, apparently there was some Pakistani news conference. They were doing it on Instagram, you know, to connect with the kids. I don't know, but they accidentally had the Instagram cat filter on it. I don't know if it was Instagram or just something, because a lot of webcams have built-in things going on, but they had this thing set on to, when it was focused on someone, automatically put cat ears and whiskers on them. And so it's these Pakistani, I think they were government ministers, having a really serious talk, but they've got cat ears and whiskers. Fucking legendary. But you know, that's just one of those things, really. You'll love it when you hear it. It's just, I haven't seen video footage. I've only seen stills of it, screen grabs. I don't know if you can get the video anywhere. Oh, Jessica, yeah. The Snapchat filter, where it changes you male, female. I actually did that and posted it on social media. I also did it with AngryAussie when he was, did I save it? Because I'm going to be honest, he was mildly disturbing looking. I appear to have not saved it, or maybe it's in Snapchat. Let me have a look. Snapchat, where are we? No, it appears like I did not save the one of AngryAussie. Maybe it traumatized me too much. I'll show you me. I've got me right here. I'm fascinated with how well they take off facial hair. Trying to, yeah. Won't go in focus. Why won't it go in focus? There you go. Yeah. I'm fascinated with how well it takes off facial hair, actually. But yes, okay, if I get AZ again, I'll try and do the face filter with him. It looks like my mum, I swear. It looks like my mum. Which I guess is not that surprising. A feminized version of me looks somewhat like my mum. And look, I'm just going to say it now. The feminized me is prettier than the feminized AZ. The one thing I would not call feminized AZ is attractive. I know that's harsh. I know that's a harsh and judgmental thing to say, but I don't shy away from controversy, and I will just say that no, it was not good. Laura, I can screen share with Hangouts. Yes. Oh, what you mean from my phone? I don't know how to do it from my phone, if that's what you're saying. I know I can have different people on the hang. Oh yeah, and I do know you can share because I've watched other people do it. But invite people, mute microphone, turn camera off. I have to admit, now you bring it up, I don't know how to. I don't know how to share the screen. No. Okay. I don't know how to from a PC laptop. I know it's possible because I see people do it. Thing is, I don't know how to. As this is me being grandpa saying, if I open a new tab, there's a screen share button. Let me see. No, it's not doing that. I'm looking. Oh wait, cast. Is that what you're saying? No devices found. Oh, okay. No, this is me being grandpa, not being able to work this out. Yes, okay. I'm using Chrome, and I see 3 dots. New tab, new window, history, downloads, bookmarks, zoom, print, cast, find, more tools. No, I do not see an option. Or you mean on the actual Hangouts thing? I can't open another tab on this. Show as tab. Ah, okay. Now, cast. Let me check again. No devices found. Double checking. New incognito window. Zoom, print, cast, tools. No, I'm not seeing anything. Ah, well. We just have to live with the fact that I'm easily confused and change is not good for me. You're saying on the Hangout screen there are 3 dots. Yes. And it doesn't give me an option to share anywhere. Yes, here's me being stepped. I'm your senile boomer grandparent being stepped through help thing. Now the thing is, Laura, screen share is not one of the options. There are the 3 dots, and the options are new tab, new window, incognito, history, downloads, bookmarks, zoom, print, cast, find, more tools, edit, settings, exit. God, out of the blue. Do I have opinion on canola rights? Fine piece of Australian history, that. That was racism and white entitlement and mob violence at its absolute worst. And for anyone who wants to hide behind the shit-eating sort of, oh, they're invading our beaches, the fucking thugs who staged that riot, besides attacking innocent people on the street and on trains, also attacked ambulance drivers. So any fucking mouth-breathing inbred piece of shit who defends the filthy, worthless, inbred racist cunts who did that thinks it's perfectly valid to attack ambulance drivers. Scum of the fucking earth. Absolute scum of the fucking earth. Natalie, well, it's not your fault just because you lived in the Shire, fucking widest part of Sydney. I think my phone is on Bluetooth, Jessica. I think what Laura is saying is the browser is meant to give just a share option, and but there is no screen share option on my menu, so it is just a thing that I'm too thick to work out. Just gave it a Shire. Look, it's not that the Shire is not a nice place. It's just that yes, the Cronulla riots were probably the darkest hour of the Shire. Yeah, that's right, scummers from the Shire. Shitty's pants at Engadine Macca's. Oh my God, that's one of my favorite funny, stupid stories someone made up. Scott Morrison shit his pants at Engadine McDonald's. What's the story with Chuck? Chuck is the official mascot of Chupa Chup lollipops. He's got a little hole in his hand here. You can actually stick a Chupa Chup in his hand and then stick it in his mouth. And he's the most crazed official, and he's the official corporate mascot of Chupa Chup. So I got him as a promotional thing a few years ago. He's got his little Chupa Chups logo on his clothes. And he's this weird little lump of a being with freaky eyes, and he's definitely my favorite corporate mascot ever. Yes, Laura, I don't know how to tell you any other way apart from it absolutely is not an option when I do the 3 tabs on the thing. I did something to view it as a tab, which it isn't normally, and no, I probably don't want to view page source. That would probably be a bad idea. Was it on here? What? All these weird things that are saying, oh, you could use this as your source if you want, and I bet I'll break it if I do that. So I'm not going to do that because I'll break it. Because, you know, that's a thing I tend to do. Don't even remember how I got it to be as a browser tab now. It's a weird old thing. No, do you reckon the Burger King King is worse than Chuck? I think Chuck's way worse than the Burger King King. Burger King King's a bit weird, but yeah. Dr. Obama, was it with you on Setka Alba? Setka's a fucking piece of shit. I mean, no, he needs to be gone. Absolutely. You know, he's a fucking liar, and he needs to be gone. Oh, Jessica, I see you were laughing at Gobbledygook. No, you were talking mascots. The Gobbledoc, the Smith Chips mascot a while back. But at least the Gobbledoc was cute, was weird but cute, whereas they deliberately made Chuck ugly and freaky, which I love. Natalie, you went to Laguna Street Public School. Wow, okay, fair enough. Oh, God, there's another small world thing. Is it music over? Scummo's kids attending your school when you went to a school reunion? Yeah, I guess that's it's always a bit weird, something like that. I mean, it's so weird since the election. It's like nothing's happened and I don't really give a shit. They'll probably start on their bullshit sometime soon, where they're going to, you know, do this religious freedom law, which means legalizing the bigotry and abuse if it's your religion. Oh, that's not actually a linked fact. Lara Bingle from Where the Bloody Hell Are You? Natalie, she was in your composite class because, of course, if I remember rightly, Scummo was in charge of Tourism Australia. He's the one who did that Where the Bloody Hell Are You campaign, which was a complete fucking failure. And now people are starting to circulate stories about why did he leave his job? And there are stories of corruption and whatnot. So, yeah, that's all fun. Dr. Obama, I don't watch ABC Insiders, no. I got sick of the political chattering classes a long time ago. Okay, Insiders has a bit more depth than, say, Q&A, which just straight up shits me and I refuse to watch because it'll make me want to throw things at my own TV. No, I don't watch Insiders. I just, even though it's better than other political things, it just, you know, at a certain point feels like a bit of a circle jerk. I've never been able to get into it. I have my own opinions. I don't need anyone else's. But that's the one. What's his name? Barry Cassidy left that now, hasn't he? He was like the host of Insiders for a long time. Someone with a very long ABC career. Well, certainly the Wilkins coffee ads with Jim Henson, and he had a murderous prototype Kermit. I've not even heard of that, but I can search for it. Wow, okay, yep. And yeah, it looks like prototype Telly as well. There's a regular on Sesame Street called Telly. I'll have to watch that at some point because that does look very nightmarish. It looks dodgy as all hell, quite honestly. I love the Google Chrome feature. It's probably on all the browsers now, where you just highlight some text and right-click, and it goes, "Oh, do you want to search on that?" Here, yes, I do. Dr. Bramwell, I think Albo has a chance of winning in 2022 as well, but it's so fucking far off. At the moment, basically almost everything Labor has done since the election shits me. It's like, oh, people don't like us being controversial. We should just try and be Liberal Party light, and then people will love us. Weak as piss. I really don't like it. Yes, Laura, the UK Conservative Party trying to choose their new leader. So as I've been saying, it's going to be Boris Johnson, PM Boris Johnson. Oh, what a fucking clown he is. Oh my God. Poor old England. I think you're right, Jessica. It would be difficult to see Kermit the Same ever again if you watch that. Who's going to is Donald Trump have a chance of winning 2024, 28, 32? Isn't it? All right. No, I see what you're doing now. Oh, yes, you are jumping in. Well, there is, I don't know. The whole Trump thing is so fucking bizarre. Like, absolutely bizarre and unhinged and nonsensical. It's like whenever anyone asks me, like, seriously, what do I seriously think of? What will happen with Trump? I don't fucking know. Applying common sense, logic, and reason to anything to do with Trump is ridiculous because he doesn't fit in the parameters of logic, common sense, or reason. It's just, you just look at what's happening. It's like, well, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? None of this shit makes any fucking sense whatsoever. It just makes no sense. It's ridiculous. And so, yeah, whenever anyone asks me to predict anything, it's like, no, not predicting anything. I still think, looking at the way things are now, the most likely outcome of the next US presidential election is Trump wins again. It's just, I just look at it and go, yeah, no, I don't see anyone sort of, you need to inspire opposition to Trump at the same level or higher than Trump inspired fuckwit bigots to vote for him. And I don't see anyone on the opposing side doing that yet. I don't see anything inspirational happening at this point. I mean, yeah, you look at, I don't know who's going to be, and again, if you historically look at previous US presidential races when there's been multiple contenders this far out, like a year out, trying to predict who will win out of the contenders is an absolute mugs game. Because hey, Aussie Gun Bunny, how's it doing, man? Dr. Obama, am I a democratic socialist? No. A lot of my views on the world are probably very similar to a lot of people who call themselves democratic socialist, but no, that is absolutely not how I identify myself. I mean, it's just, I've never seen a political party that I wouldn't eventually disagree with. And while you do get dissident voices within political parties, which is by and large a good thing, it seems like if you want to have any influence on a party, you have to toe the party line, even when the party line is shit. And every party ends up doing some stuff that's absolutely shit. So Aussie Gun Money, watching Designated Survivor, I still haven't watched that, but there's just too many. Like the last time I looked at, scan through Netflix, and I get paralyzed by choice because there's half a dozen or more series that I've started watching and haven't finished. And then I see another half dozen either shows or movies that look interesting, and I'm paralyzed by choice. And now on Foxtel, they've got a whole bunch of things. Like there's a new version of War of the Worlds that might suck, but I'm going to give it a chance. The new season of Westworld is coming out at some point, which I'm quite keen to see, because Westworld really does your head in. And there were a couple others as well. They were advertising their upcoming series. I was like, oh yeah, there's 3 or 4 at least in there I want to watch. And I want to give it, again, I do not hold out high hopes for the Watchmen TV series, but I'm going to give it a chance. I'd rather go in with low expectations and be pleasantly surprised than go in with high expectations and be disappointed. No, my comrade, probably depends who's asking. Certainly, a lot of anti-socialist people would call me a socialist, but they think it's an insult, so it doesn't really count. Just you think as Trump was close with Kanye for a while, he should be. Look, the thing is, Trump's single defining feature is his rampant narcissism and desperate need for validation. So whenever anyone validates him, no matter who they are, he's fucking all over it. And so when Kanye's doing all these weird, unbalanced shit, Trump was all in favor of that because as far as Trump was concerned, that made him look good. So, you know, with him, it's just all about the narcissism and the validation. It's super weird. Loogie, yes. Chuck is creepy. No argument there. Oh, you're ill. That's unfortunate. Yeah, Laura, well, there is the danger of spending 2 hours trying to figure out what to watch. I can get paralyzed. Like, you know, I was so paralyzed. I started watching something I'd already seen. Like the other day, I started watching John Wick 2. There's a whole bunch of stuff I got lined up, like series I've started and haven't finished, series I haven't started and I'm interested in starting. But yeah, I watched probably only for about half an hour. But yeah, I started watching John Wick 2 again. It was just I watched an episode of Tuca and Bertie, super weird animation, just before coming on here. On the weekend, I watched a couple more episodes of Happy. Watched a couple more episodes of Chernobyl. I've just got the last episode of Chernobyl to go. And what else did I watch? I watched a couple of episodes of What We Do in the Shadows, which is a great show. I really like. Watched a little bit of the new season of Archer 1999. Yeah, there's just so much. Of course, I watched the new Black Mirror episodes when they came out. I enjoyed those. And so I discussed with a few people, new Black Mirror maybe not as bleak as the older ones, but there's some bleakness in it. Dr. Obama, I never read the Happy comic. In fact, I had never heard of the comic Happy before the show came out. So I have no idea how similar or different it is to the comic. But I mean, notably when people make shows out of these comics or books. They do tend to change stuff because it's just usually it's necessary. Usually, at least some of it's necessary. Just the change in the medium, something that works as a comic or a book is not necessarily. So I've got a ability. You're what? Probably you're non-stop now. Yeah, making something in a different medium, you often have to change bits of it. I feel like I've got something in my eye now. Bloody hell. Luigi, we need a good show in the grimdark style. That one I'm not familiar with either. Yeah, Dr. Obama, happy the show is interesting. It's funny. It's very non-naturalistic. A lot of it's very stylized. So you have to, whether you've read the comic or not, I think you have to be in the zone to enjoy the TV show, because it's very surreal, and as I said, it's not natural. Well, sometimes it's kind of naturalistic, but it's often very, very, very non-naturalistic. But Lou, you were saying Grimdark's like Warhammer 40k. Okay. I saw that what was the it wasn't Warhammer 40k. What's the other one with the orcs and the knights? It came from just Warhammer, I think. Jessica, you saw Pokemon. You mean Detective Pokemon? Because I haven't seen Detective Pokemon. You think you'll be? I think everyone expects to be disappointed by the Sonic movie, which is apparently being completely redesigned because everyone hated the teaser of the Sonic design so much. Rightly so. Dr. Palmer, if I had to reboot an insensitive show from the past, I'm assuming you're meaning something that could offend the sensibilities. What was I into in the past? You know, the Avengers, the British Avengers. I think John Peel, like the original one in the 60s, had this camp thing of John Steed and Emma Peel, Mrs. Peel, and she was always wearing like cat suits and getting tied up as this old bondage subtext. And there was a 70s version which was sort of fun. 70s camp had Joanna Lumley in it. Maybe a new version of the Avengers. I'm trying to think. I wonder how you would do a show about a bigot now that bigotry's become so mainstream, like with the US president being a raving fucking bigot. And I'm thinking of the British version was Till Death Us Do Part with Alf Garnett. The American version was All in the Family with Archie Bunker. The Australian version was Kingswood Country. But I'm just trying to think, how would you even do a show like that when, what do you satirize when the level of bigotry is so mainstream? It's very weird. Oh God, Dr. Brown, Black and White Minstrel reboot. No, the Black and White Minstrel thing is racist as fuck. There's no irony to it. It was originally a way to ridicule black people and demean black people, and that's what it remained its whole life. The whole minstrel thing was always about ridiculing and demeaning black people. It's fucking racist right to its fucking core. Comrade Dad, you have a 40K show that runs in your head with Anna Kendrick in it. That's some good imagination that you've actually cast the show in your head too. I like that. I mean, one show that they keep rumoring is going to be rebooted. It's not a sort of politically incorrect show. There's a British sci-fi Blake 7, which I was really into because it was out when I was at school. I was really into it. So a modern version of that didn't have the 70s, 80s cheesiness in it would have potential. Because, I mean, really, Firefly, in a lot of ways, was like a modern day Blake 7, quite honestly. Criminals fighting an oppressive government. Natalie Kirk, Quantum Leap should be rebooted. There's some joke in that, really, because Quantum Leap was all about time travel. So I'm sure we could get some joke in there somehow about if you rebooted Quantum Leap, it wouldn't really be a reboot just because with the time travel, it would have been happening all along. I like that theory, Albie. M appeal stands for M appeal, man appeal. Even if that's not true, I like it. It's very good. Hey, Feeler and Sealer, how's it going? Good to see you. I think he's getting to halfway. You know, consult my Bible, Cocktail Chronicles. Last week I actually managed to find a new cocktail that was quite good. Had the whiskey and vanilla, and it was good. Oh, okay? Maybe I should try this. This is what's Nocino? Because one of my favorite cocktails is a whiskey sour, and this is called a Cumberland sour. It's apparently Canadian, and this is bourbon, lemon juice, egg white, bitters, maple syrup. I do actually have some maple flavored syrup in there. Nocino. What is Nocino? I don't know what Nocino is. We're getting onto Firefly and Serenity. I actually saw the movie before I saw the series. I'd never heard of the series. I missed it. Yeah, and I know that oh god, I forgot what I was going. I know they did comics. Also, yeah, Joss Whedon wrote a bunch of Serenity comics, but also wrote a bunch of Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics. The story continued for ages in the comics. I just saw Natalie recovering from work for the doll-induced panic attack. I feel sorry for you. Work for the doll is such bullshit. It's fucking class warfare. I hate it so much. Just looking at what Nocino is. Because I've sticky dark brown liqueur. Okay, so it's a spicy sweet. Okay, I've got a bitter Italian walnut. I've got a bitter Italian liqueur. Don't have a sweet Italian liqueur. What does Nocino taste like? It's nutty and it's sweet. Okay. Okay, so Frangelico is another similar thing. So I'm going to, if I Google for a substitute for Nocino. Okay, yeah, no, I don't think I have any nutty liqueurs. Okay, so I can't really make that. Yeah, Musical Gaver, you hit on my number one thing about work for the dole. Fucking pay people minimum wage or fuck off, quite honestly. Yeah, no, work for the dole is just fucking class warfare. What do I see everyone's like a Fast and Furious. I saw the ad for the one that's just teaming up Jason Statham and The Rock. Very silly and camp looking. What's the one? A Louis, which I think I have made. Bourbon, Campari, pineapple juice, lime juice, simple syrup. Jesus. And a bit of salt. Saline solution. That, I suppose, a little bit of saline to cut the sweetness. If you've got pineapple, lime, and syrup, but then Campari. I don't have Campari. I have Aperol though. It's bitter. I hate work for the dole so much. I hate everything. The way they fucking torture people who are on sickness benefits, disability pensions, long-term unemployed. I fucking hate it. It's evil and cruel. Makes no sense. Makes no sense financially. It's just cruelty. It's just victimizing people who are already the most vulnerable, and it's just cheap political point scoring. Like, oh, look at dole budgets. Let's cut back on the dole budget. Let's cut back on the corporate welfare, quite fucking honestly. That's the one I made last week, the Brave Companion. Bourbon, lemon juice, creme de cacao, and vanilla. That was good. I made a jungle bird on the weekend. It's black rum, Campari, lime juice, simple syrup, pineapple. That was okay. Oh, Loogie, work for the dole. This is basically you're on unemployment benefits. The government says, oh, now we're going to actually make you do this volunteer work to qualify for your dole payments. And it's always really fucked and shitty, and it's fucking slave labor, basically. 3 dots and a dash. Different sorts of rum and for learning. That's all stuff I don't have. Ooh, isn't it? I've got some rums. A swizzle. It's 2 different sorts of rum, a sugar syrup, allspice. I can improvise that. Absinthe and bitters. Oh, grating of nutmeg. I don't actually have nutmeg. Oh yeah, Lukey. Well, the whole unemployment system in the US is completely different to Australia's. What's this one? The Division Bell, Mezcal, lime juice, Aperol. Oh, I don't have any maraschino. Ooh, chartreuse, Naked and Famous. I should make a drink called Naked and Famous, shouldn't I? Mezcal, which I think I'm out of, but I got tequila, lime juice, Aperol, and chartreuse. That sounds really deadly. I don't think I've ever made that. There's one called Donga Punch, Donga. In Australian slang, that doesn't sound Donga Punch. It's just rum, Don's mix, and lime juice. No, tequila, lime juice, Aperol, and chartreuse. That sounds really dangerous. Cienjano, Pisco. I'm out of Pisco. I need to. That got other things I don't have. See, with all these things that I have there, there's always stuff. Or maybe I'll. Ooh, I can even see my banana liqueur. Maybe I'll just do the banana whiskey one because it's good. Branca. Ooh, what's this? Stir without ice. Serve at room temperature. No. There's a breakfast martini. Here's a breakfast martini. Gin, lemon juice, Cointreau, and the orange marmalade makes it breakfast. Kaiju, Chuck is staring into your soul, quite honestly. The marmalade's a cachaça. I looked that up the other day. Oh my God, this book is so hilarious. Talking about what to drink at breakfast. This chapter, well, page opens with, between milk punch and the Bloody Mary, there are plenty ways to catch a buzz at the breakfast table. Good Lord. Talking about how to get smashed at breakfast. That's not good. Jen, yeah, this is Donald Trump's soul right here. Yes, Natalie, cachaça is a Brazilian rum. Yes. Yeah, Jessica, Mimsy kind of gets miffed when Chuck's there and comes in. Thought I'd get rid of Chuck when Mimsy comes in, but I haven't seen her. God knows what she's doing. Ugh. Coffee. Ugh, I hate coffee. I like coffee and what in drinks. Like the really popular one, the espresso martini. Ew, gross. Hate it. That's right, Lugie. The way your system works in America, you're supposed to pay into an unemployment thing when you're working, so you're covered if you end up unemployed. We do that. It's called taxes. But there's not an official sort of unemployment thing you pay into. It's ridiculous. The penicillin cocktail. Blended Scotch whiskey, lemon juice, honey syrup, ginger. That's supposed to be the penicillin, a cold remedy, I think. And then a single malt whiskey. My God, there are so many weird ingredients. This is the one that weirds me out. I don't know if anyone's ever tried like bitters, Angostura bitters, which I have here somewhere. Yeah, you normally just put a few drops, like a few dashes in a drink, and it's a very strong flavor. But there are some drinks where you do a whole shot of bitters. One's a Trinidad sour. That's 1.5 ounces of Angostura bitters, an ounce, or they say orgeat syrup, so that's sugar syrup, lemon juice, and 1/2 ounce of rye whiskey. So 3 times more bitters than whiskey. And normally, you know, you'd put a few drops of bitters in. But I actually made that and it was okay. I love the name of this one, Alabazam. It's the drink that a drunken wizard makes and can't quite get around to saying Alakazam. Alabazam's brandy, Cointreau, simple syrup, lemon juice, bitters. I mean, that's a sidecar with bitters in it. Sidecar is one of my favorites, and that's like brandy or what's it called? The upmarket version of brandy. Cognac. God, my brain just went totally blank. You either have brandy or cognac, and then Cointreau or some other orange liqueur like triple sec, something like that, and lemon juice and maybe simple syrup. So someone's put a teaspoon, which is actually a fair bit of bitters, and said that's a different drink now. Suppose that would actually change the taste quite a bit, putting a decent whack of bitters in there. I love the ones that have a whole egg in them. If there's an egg in them, they're usually called a flip. And if it's just the egg white, they're often called a fizz or a sour. You put lemon and egg white in a sour. But if it's a whole egg, it's a flip. And of course, because you always hear stories about people getting sick from raw eggs. So because cachaça is in so many of these, I have to get some. So yeah, it's a Brazilian rum. Oh, that's right. I looked it up. It's different. So cachaça is sugar cane juice, like fresh sugar cane juice, whereas the base on rum is traditionally molasses. That's when you boil down the sugar cane juice until it's this really thick brown stuff. Whereas cachaça, and I think it's the rum agricole, is made with sugarcane juice, so it hasn't been boiled down into molasses before you put it into the spirit. So I'm sure that makes for a different. I'm gonna have to get some. I'm gonna have to get some cachaça because I've never had it. Land's End is a bold Jamaican rum, lemon juice, raspberry syrup, and curacao. Now, I could put. I don't have curacao. I could put Cointreau in that one instead. I see, Luigi. I don't drink spirits straight. Oh, you're a Boilermaker. That's fucking gross. Beer cocktails. So fucking gross. Comrade Da, mixing Goon and Pepsi, I agree with you. That is the most classless thing I can think of. Yes, Jessica, I do tend to often pick them based on names. There's a series called the 20th Century, 21st Century, and 30th Century, which I do a little variation of, the name after a King Crimson song called it 21st Century Schizoid Man. A Red Ant, that's a good name, rye whiskey and a cherry liqueur, and Kirschwasser, which is a German thing. God, listen to the stuff that's in this. Rye whiskey, cherry liqueur, Kirschwasser, which I think is German, mezcal, cinnamon syrup, and then chocolate bitters. That's the Red Ant. Neho highball, Blarney's tonic. Underground. Okay, here's the thing. The two most popular trendy cocktails at the moment, I fucking hate both of them. Espresso martini, just because I hate coffee. I hate coffee flavor. And the Negroni. It's too fucking bitter. It's like vermouth and Campari and gin. And Campari is just too bitter. I had another one on the weekend to see if I really hated it. And I do. Never ordering a Negroni again. I fucking hate them. I don't even like martinis. I don't hate martinis, but I don't like them. Muses and bridges. Oh, I must add this one. Oh, that's right. I had the... Oh, actually, I might make this one, the Toronto cocktail, traditionally Canadian whiskey, which I don't actually have, and Fernet Branca, simple syrup and bitters. Or Tipperary, Irish whiskey, vermouth, chartreuse. 2 dashes orange bitters, simple syrup, a Tipperary. I do have some Irish whiskey. I might make that one. A Tipperary or a Rapscallion. No, I don't have sherry. Oh, wow, that's a lot of scotch in. Fucking, I love these ones where it's nothing but alcohol in them. This one's like 2 1/4 ounce, so 2 shots of Talisker or Smoky Islay single malt scotch, 3/4 ounce of Pedro Jimenez sherry, and a tablespoon of absinthe. I mean, that's going to be fucking deadly. Dixie cocktail, bourbon, simple syrup, curacao, bitters, creme de menthe. I don't have creme de menthe, but I do have my peppermint vodka. So I could do a version of that. The seal. Oh, this was the Liberal that I made for the Liberal Party in the election. It was whiskey, vermouth, pecan, and bitters. This is one of those things where I get paralyzed by choice. I mentioned that before. I'm always getting paralyzed by choice. Brandy, whiskey, raspberry, red wine vinegar, eel. Absinthe, rye, vermouth, Benedictine, absinthe. Pineapple and raspberry, the East India cocktail. So many choices. This is the, okay, looking through this book and it's like, wow, I don't know. This is rum, lime juice, Cointreau, apricot liqueur, and simple syrup. Periodista. I think I should use a dark rum. I've got dark rum. Got some Kraken black rum. Pick two, flip a coin. Absinthe drip. I think. Ooh. Oh, I don't think I've ever had brandy and chartreuse. Brandy, chartreuse, cherry, which I don't have, but I could do a different. Cognac, Cointreau, lemon juice, maraschino. I had some maraschino, which is cherry liqueur, specifically because it's in so many of these. Brandy, curacao, and vermouth is called a burnt fuselage, which is a pretty good name for some. Bombay cocktails, brandy, vermouth, curacao, bitters, and absinthe. Okay, I'm going to have a Bombay cocktail. Dash of absinthe. All right. So I'm going to do brandy, vermouth, and Cointreau bitters. Okay, and it says to stir it with ice. That's okay. I'll get my, finish this. Okay, I get my ingredients. Oh, good luck, Shannon. This has been very political. The East India drink, whiskey, ground up souls of slaves. Yes. Okay, where's my brandy? There. And what were the ingredients? The Bombay cocktail, brandy, vermouth. Vermouth and Cointreau. Okay. So, brandy and vermouth are here. And Cointreau. Where's my Cointreau? Okay. I think get my orange bitters. Okay, I'm gonna get my glass. I'm gonna grab the special bitters. Okay. Where's the special glass? All right. Coming back, just gotta get a big block of ice. So I like my big block of ice. Cool. Okay. Okay. Right. Everything's sorted. Chronic, how's it going? Harvey, you worried the Chuck's head would move of its own volition. Could. Okay. 7 a.m. in America, Chronic. Okay, where's my measuring thingy? I had a measuring thingy here. It's over there. What's it doing over there? Okay. I'll just double check the volumes it suggests in everything. One and a half ounce brandy. Okay, and same with vermouth and a little bit of curacao and a dash of absinthe. Where's my absinthe? It's up there. Absinthe. Absinthe on absinthe. Okay, brandy. Okay. Bigger than average Costco bottle. Gotta love Costco. Yeah, it's a litre. Normally, like from a Dan Murphy's, they'll be 750 mils. Litre is kind of small for Costco because I got like a 1.75 litre bottle of bourbon there, and the same of gin. Loogie, my absinthe is red. This maker, green's like a traditional color for absinthe. This maker, which is actually Spanish, it's called Jacques Sirot, and I thought they were French, but it's actually Spanish. Their green absinthe is 70% alcohol. That's the red absinthe, is 75%. They have a blue absinthe that's 80% alcohol, and black absinthe that's 85% alcohol. And while I used to always get the black one, you know, bang for your buck type thing, most drunkening, like a single shot of that's a triple of a lot of spirits. But it's black and it makes cocktails look really gross. So I got the red because it looks the nicest mixed in a cocktail. Harb, you like Napoleon brandy neat. Yeah, I rarely drink any spirits neat, which, you know, would make traditionalists hate me, of course. But I do like my cocktails. My absinthe. Right, and I'm going to put some, it said orange bitters, which I don't have, but I have this Australian-made one called Superfoods. This is a finger lime, an Australian native citrus. Put some of that in, which is obviously a very different flavor to orange, but I'm wild and crazy. Now I'm just going to stir. And for an artistic touch, put the red, just a drizzle of the red absinthe on top, because I like the way that looks rather than mixing it. You see, my cup, see, isn't that nice? The yellow or orange base drink and that little rim of blood on the top from the blood rim absinthe. Looky, the black absinthe, I mean, I quite like it as a flavor and a mixer. It's just very murky. Most of the aniseed-based spirits, absinthe and Galliano and Ouzo, etc., will go really cloudy when you mix them. Something that's called lushing. The black one in particular is very gross, but like if you put this absinthe in like just water, which is the traditional way to have it, it doesn't just blend in with it. It tends to go very cloudy. But now the taste test, because I don't think I've ever made this before. Yeah, that's pretty good. Ooh. Wait, I think I left something out. What did it say to put in it? No. There's nothing that's not alcohol in there. Okay. That's the funny thing. Like, I often, like I said, I often don't drink spirits neat because I find it a bit overpowering. But this is nothing that's not spirits, and I'm fine with it. Well, that's an interesting question, Phil. Could you freeze it? Because it is quite difficult to freeze alcohol. Because alcohol has a much lower freezing point than water, much lower boiling point, and much lower freezing point. And some alcohols will freeze and some won't, and particularly if you mix, but this is all just alcohol, so I don't think that would freeze. I don't know. I remember the first time I found a friend of mine had this really high alcohol Polish vodka. I forget what it was, but like normal vodka's 40% alcohol. This Polish vodka was much more than that. I don't remember exactly how much, but he kept it in the freezer so he could just do shots of it neat. Yeah, because it didn't freeze. It was such high alcohol content, it wouldn't freeze. But you pour it straight into a shot and you'd get this really icy shot straight away without it being diluted. But I remember being quite concerned that this stuff wouldn't freeze. Like, how much fucking alcohol is in that? Jesse, you think you should try and freeze it? I don't know. Blend it a little bit. There you see, it's now going a bit of a blood orange color. Yeah, I don't think I could freeze absinthe. Like, it's 75% alcohol. I don't think that would freeze without a very serious... I mean, obviously everything can be frozen. You can freeze gases, but you need very particular machinery to do that. But a normal household freezer, I don't think that would freeze this. Yes, Pugwash, I know. Oh, well, if you get green absinthe 70%, that means it's good quality. Sounds like I'm being a jerk saying, well, some absinthe only about 50% alcohol. Weak. Absinthe is just basically traditionally very strong alcohol. Like your normal strong spirits are, gin, vodka, etc. Whiskies are about 40%, with some very the variations, obviously, and then you get the ones that are more meant like mixers that are only 20% alcohol. Like vermouth is usually only this vermouth's 18% alcohol. Vermouth's usually only about 20% alcohol. That's banana liqueur. That's only 20% alcohol. There's normally the flavoring stuff is lower, but the brandy is 37% alcohol. So a lot of your spirits are about 40%. Absinthe is traditionally much stronger. 70% is common. Fox of Fate, alcohol freezes at minus 114 degrees C. That's probably pure alcohol, which none of this is. But yeah, once you're up 70, 75%, that's very high alcohol. You'd need I'm pretty sure this wouldn't ice up at all if I froze it. But particularly if you mix it with like jelly shots, because you mix them with jelly, they're more likely to freeze. As soon as you mix it with something, like if I mixed it with fruit juice or something, be more likely to freeze. So chronic. When you're a teen stealing dad's booze, yeah, no, thought you were being clever. He had booze in the freezer, and you added water so he wouldn't know you took it. But of course, the water separated out from the booze and froze. Womp, womp, womp. Louis Moonshine. I know some Australian spirits makers have marketed some drinks under the name Moonshine. But yes, your illegal still making what do they normally make moonshine out of? Sometimes it's fruit, often it's grain. I mean, like whiskey's a grain thing. Sour mash whiskey. But basically anything that ferments, you can make alcohol out of. That's what sociologists think. Where God, my fridge has started vibrating. Where alcohol maybe came from, because of course, just natural fruit will or can ferment if left long enough. And I still see there's occasional stories. I've seen there's hilarious photos, like probably just search for drunk moose in a tree. I forget where it was, somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere, where some fruit had rotted on a tree. And so it had actually started to ferment, and moose ate it and got drunk and loved the feeling and tried to climb the tree to eat more and got itself like stuck in the tree because it was drunk. There's a lot of sociologists think that all things like coffee and alcohol and opiates were discovered by humans when they saw animals eat particular fruit, berries, nuts, etc., and then their behavior changed afterwards. Like, goats ate coffee beans and then were pinging all over the place. Animals ate fermented fruit and started stumbling around, and then humans tried it and liked it. Same as, animals eating poppy and getting high, and the humans go, I wonder what that is, and trying it for themselves. Of course, we don't really have any way of knowing this for sure, but it makes sense. When humans started to raise animals, they'd see some things that the animals did and go, oh, what's that all about? I mean, there's one theory that that's how a lot of civilizations moved from a matriarchal power structure to a patriarchal power structure, because there is evidence of very strong matriarchies in history. And one theory is that in these matriarchies, women were elevated because childbirth was a fucking mystery. Men had no fucking idea what was going on. And it was like some sort of fucking magic women did. And so they worshipped them. But then when they started raising herd animals and they watched them and they saw, oh, wait, no, look, when the males fuck the females, I think that's what makes the babies. Oh, my God. So it's not the woman who makes it. It's me, the man, who makes it. Again, these are things that we can't know for sure, but they're interesting theories, and they make a certain amount of sense. Pugwash, elderflower liqueur. I've got some elderflower liqueur, elderflower wine. They're probably elderflower wine. Elderflower liqueur is good. Elderflower liqueur is quite good. I quite like it. But yeah, you can basically anything that has sugar in it can be fermented or distilled, and people have learned over the years the properties of sugars and yeast and various grains and fruit and whatnot. I love a few different cultures called their signature spirit the water of life. In Latin it was aqua vitae. Some parts of, I think it's Northern Europe, it's still called aquavit. And in fact, whiskey, Scotch whiskey, in Gaelic is whisky baha, which is water of life. And it got anglicised to whiskey. There you go. You learned something tonight on the Angry live stream. Never let anyone tell you this is a waste of time just watching the alcoholic make cocktails. Cocktail. You learn things. The source of the name whiskey is the Gaelic words whisky baha, water of life. I'm probably pronouncing that really badly. Whisky baha. Yeah, that's how it's spelled. Thank you, Stella. But yeah, it's water of life. That was the phrase. They were so into alcohol. They around the world, different people in Europe called it the water of life, which is great. Chronic, you're an Irish whiskey fan. I don't know. I've got some Irish whiskey. I've got some Scotch, and I've got some bourbon, and I've got some rye whiskey, because they'll have slightly different flavors. So if you make like the same drink, but with the different whiskies. It'll have a different flavor, like, you know, the two American whiskies, bourbon and rye. Bourbon is sweeter than rye. And of course, against Scotch whiskey, there are so many permutations of it. If you're not into Scotch whiskey, you might not be able to take. I'm not hugely into it, but if someone sort of, I've done tasting paddles of different Scotches, you can tell they're different. But for the real aficionados, there are hundreds upon hundreds of variations of Scotch whiskey, single malts, and blended whiskies, and they all have different palates. Pugwash, I drink far more bourbon than Scotch or Irish whiskey. I've got the variations to make different drinks. But yes, for preference, I'm with you, Pugwash. I would probably go bourbon. So I love what you've said. They're not just different flavors of Scotch, they have different cleaning properties as well. I'm sure they would be good for getting off stubborn stains. Ushki Baha, yeah, I think that's a good pronunciation, Stella, for the water of life, Ushki Baha. And the Brits just, yeah, anglicized it to whiskey. Oh my God. If you forfeit drinking a game as Glenfiddich, I don't know. I think the people were rich if they were drinking Glenfiddich as a punishment. Yeah, Felix, so you might be right. Canadian whiskey might make you plutcher. I see. Okay, Loogie, Canadian whiskey is very similar to American rye whiskey. It's not 100 miles removed from bourbon, but bourbon is sweeter. Ah, wow, Stella, you're in the whiskey club. Nice. Okay, there you go. There's an open invitation. If you want to join the whiskey club, Stella gets a refer a friend bonus. Yeah, I am not that into the whiskies. No, I've got brandy. This drink has brandy in it. Yeah, I've got the Napoleon brandy. I've also got some cognac up there, which is just upmarket brandy. And I've got I think it's German or from somewhere around there. It's an apple and pear brandy. Oh my God, Dr. Bob, did Freudenberg actually say maintaining a surplus is more important than stimulating the economy? The economy's going to tank. There's going to be a really bad recession, and the fucking liberals are going to throw us to the wolves. Like when there was a global financial crisis and a lot of places got hit by recession and government austerity, the Rudd government upped spending on all these capital works, community buildings and whatnot, building stuff in schools and whatnot. And it kept the economy going, and Australia was spared the worst of the global financial crisis. The Liberals will not do that. The fucking economy goes down, Liberals will throw us to the fucking streets. It'll be a fucking disaster. Look, you see, you must be a bit of an aficionado. Talk about the spicy notes. That's what both people who are into it do say, that both Canadian whiskey and rye whiskey have spicier notes compared to bourbon. Bourbon's sweeter. I am not that much of an aficionado that I can particularly pick those things out. I will admit that. I even tried, like, okay, I'm going to make my favorite cocktail, the whiskey sour, and make it with different things, because being there, I had some bourbon that I was making it with, and I'll definitely, like, if I make a whiskey sour with bourbon and one with Scotch, Scotch is like way smokier. It's really obviously different. But I got rye whiskey because people saying, well, serious people drink rye whiskey. in a whiskey sour. And I put them side by side, and I could taste a little bit of difference, but honestly, I couldn't taste a lot of difference in a whiskey sour made with bourbon and a whiskey sour made with rye. But Scotch is definitely different, and Irish whiskey is definitely different. Jessica, that's an interesting one. Victoria brought in the rights to euthanasia. Technically, I think a definition of euthanasia is a doctor administers something to the person who wants to end their life. And the phrasing is slightly different in the law in Victoria. It's voluntary assisted dying. It's where the patient ingests something themselves that will end their life. But it's provided in a correct dose by a medical practitioner, whether that's a nurse or a doctor. Probably has to be a doctor. But yeah, the idea of saving people horrible amounts of pain, because there are so many ways people die that's debilitating and humiliating and painful and agonizing. Yes, something like voluntary assisted dying or euthanasia is a very positive thing as far as I'm concerned. Don't even get me started on people that, I want forced euthanasia on. Jokes. For legal purposes, that was a joke. Chronic, you are a fan of the Irish, like your Jameson and your Tullamore Dew. See, if you're in the US, spirits are so fucking cheap. Like, I'm not joking. They're probably half what it costs in Australia. That's because of the taxes on spirits in Australia. And I honestly, you might think, well, look, Angry has all those spirits and cocktails. You must want this tax cut. No, because alcohol abuse is really fucking bad. And the tax is basically to disincentivize people, to make people less likely to drink spirits in excess. And possible unpopular opinion, I don't mind the taxes on wines. Chronic, $30 a bottle, really. I think, okay, I will quickly look up and this is from a cheap bottle shop in Australia. Big chain, Dan Murphy's. They sell things cheap. And I'll see what they sell Jamesons for. So it's $30 where you are. I don't think it'll be double that, but we'll see. Okay. Jameson. Oh, wow. What are you doing, computer? Jamesons. Okay. Thank you. Here we go. Jamesons, $45. Okay. So 50% more than where you are, Captain Pugwash. $30 for you, $45 here. Yeah, Pugwash. It's the thing about it. I agree. You're saying Scotland has a minimum price per unit to reduce drinking. I'm with it. Louis, again, okay. I have seen the spiced rum, Baron Samedi. I've got say, oh no, what have I got? Captain Morgan and Kraken, because they had them at Costco where it's cheaper. And I use them in mixed drinks. I don't really drink rum straight. Again, I think the subtleties of the different sorts of rum are somewhat lost. Sorry, the question itself, I don't drink wine at all. I dislike wine, that fermented taste in wine. And I don't drink beer. either. Like, so I guess I get, but I do drink cider. So yeah, I drink spirits. Usually it's mixes. Some I'll drink straight. I feel like I did see Hannah Hart doing the Drunk Kitchen the hack of putting cheap vodka through a Brita water filter. And Mimsy's coming, which is why I moved Chuck. She's just sharpening her claws. You want to come up here? Say hello? Come say hello. No, don't jump on my lap. Come up on your stand. She's looking at my lap. She's going to jump up on my lap. Come up on your stand. Come up here. Come up here. Come on. Come up here. That's it. You know. You can do it. There you go. Come say hello to the people. More popular than me. No, you can get 3 bottles of cider for a $5. Yeah, no. It'd be much more expensive to get cider here. Yeah, no, because, okay, still you're saying you don't like the wine dishes. I don't either. There was a soft drink marketed for a while. It was grape juice, but it was specifically designed to have that dry wine taste in it, and I fucking hate it. It tasted exactly like wine, and it was gross. I didn't like it at all. Whereas I tend to like grape juice, but not when it's made to have that fermented taste in it. Not at all. Yeah, I'm just not. I don't drink wine, don't drink beer. I will drink cider, and obviously this. Oh, she just wants the attention. If I stop for a second, she no more. Got to get you like an automated scratcher, Mimsy, something you just rub yourself against. Because look how sooky she is. She just loves it. I spoil it. She sleeps next to me at night too. Don't you? You're so spoiled. I don't let her sleep on me, but she does sleep next to me. Comes up, gets a bit of a pat, and then settles down next to me. And if I don't kick her out, she'll sleep there the whole night. Oh my God. You're so desperate for the attention. You're so desperate for the attention. See, Mimsy really settles down and sits on you, where our other cat, who you've never seen on a live stream, because she won't sit still, Shadow, she'll never settle down on you. She might sit next to you, but like Mimsy will sit on your lap if you give her a chance. Jessica, do we have other pets? No, just the 2 cats. We did have a giant Queensland burrowing cockroach, or a family of giant burrowing Queensland cockroaches for a while. I have videos with them. Crawley, the original cockroach was called. And it's not a gross garbage-eating cockroach. It's from the Queensland rainforest that eats leaves. It looks like a little tank. It's mass-wise, it's the largest cockroach in the world. There's an argument about what's the largest cockroach, because it's like the Madagascar hissing cockroach can be longer than these Queensland burrowing cockroaches, but the Queensland burrowing cockroaches have more mass. So they are arguably the largest cockroach in the world, or can be. So your parents bought Maison Rosé, the kids' parties. You thought it would be grapey and sweet, but it actually just tastes like wine. Gross. Yeah, Jessica, I think young Mr. Angry would like us to have a dog, but I don't think the cats will go along with that. I think he just wants a little dog, but I don't think the cats would be okay with that. Jessica, you're allergic to cockroaches. That's a pretty wild. Don't live in Sydney, okay? If you're allergic to cockroaches, don't live in Sydney. Sydney's fucking overrun with cockroaches. Oh, we were talking about TV earlier, Stella. Good Omens. What's that? That's on Prime Video in Australia, which I don't have. But I'm probably going to get to watch Good Omens because I love Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, and I read the book when it came out years ago, and everyone's saying the TV series is really good. And I think American Gods is on Amazon Prime as well. So I want to binge watch those two. Chronic, that's a particular thing. Because there's something in red wine, if it makes you if it makes your face flush red, you feel hot and get it. There's something in red wine that does that. And it affects some of the, and in fact I was hearing on a particular podcast, a lot of Asian people can't process alcohol at all. So on a single drink, they'll get very red and flushed in the face and basically look like a white person who's had 5 or 6 drinks. I like that, Fox of Fate. Don't go near Queensland Parliament if you're allergic to cockroaches. No, Chronic, it doesn't. It's not really an allergic reaction to. Actually, it probably is a mild allergic reaction. But no, I've heard that thing is a lot of people have the thing with red wine. There's something in it that makes people have a bad reaction. Different people have different reactions, obviously. But yeah, no, I just noted for interest that apparently it's a relatively, oh my God, the fridge is just going mental now. It's a relatively common trait in East Asian people to not be able to process alcohol like Caucasians do, and they get very flushed in the face after a single drink. It's just a reaction to something that's in the alcohol. Oh my God, the noise is just shifting tones. I think 2 of the bottles are touching. That's what caused the shift in tone. I think that's the big fridge. It was the small fridge that was making noise before, and the big fridge wasn't. It'll probably stop in a minute. The little motor will stop doing what it's doing and it'll be fine. Chronic saying is Native Americans have a similar thing. Yeah. Yeah, Stella, it's often called the Asian flush, yes. And it is relatively common. Yeah, it's basically, it's acknowledging that alcohol is a poison, and a lot of Europeans just got acclimated to processing this poison, and a lot of Asians less so. She won't let me stop for a second. She's so sooky. So sooky. I'm glad you came, Mimsy, because then the name of the live stream wasn't a lie. So it was the Chuck and Mimsy show. And for the first hour and a half, it was just the Chuck show. But you got here, so that's good. Yeah, Luigi, yep, it can affect people from the Philippines as well. There was a long discussion about it. It's a podcast I was listening to that they haven't done a new episode of for like a year or something. It was with Dan Harmon and Jessica Gao, who's a writer on, well, she wrote lots of things, but she was a writer on season 3 Rick and Morty. And she's basically, apparently it came from conversations in the writer's room, explaining to Dan Harmon, who thought he was hip and with it, that he was actually really quite ignorant of how people of color were affected by a lot of things. And he thought, this is an interesting conversation, I really want to explore it. And he basically had this no holds barred conversation where he was not shy about exposing his ignorance. He's going like, if I say something and I get called out and it's shitty, I'll listen, and if it gets to the point where I understand, I'll acknowledge, like, oh yeah, okay, I now know why you're saying that thing that I thought was totally innocent was really shitty. And they had some very interesting guests on it as well. But yeah, they talked about the alcohol thing, and Jessica talked about she suffers from it, will get really flushed from a single drink. And it's not everyone, but it's a lot of particularly East Asian people. Humans, we're a weird and varied bunch, aren't we? And it's, yeah, I don't know. Like some people might say it's a genetic thing. I don't know. I think it might could easily be as much as culturally they haven't been exposed to the same thing for as many 100 generations as Europeans have. And milk is enough. Cow's milk is a widespread thing with, and again, this isn't limited to Asian people. It's also common among some black people not being able to process cow's milk. Not just some white people. My friend Corey Williams, Mr. Safety, SMP Films, he's lactose intolerant. If he drinks it, he'll get really gassy, as in he will start, his stomach will be upset and he'll start farting a lot. Some people have a much worse reaction than that, again, like an allergic reaction. Chronic, your ex was from Belarus, couldn't drink red wine. Yeah, it's, you can say like, oh, it's more likely in people from this part of the world, but it crosses over. There's, yeah, from mild to extreme allergic reaction. Because I mean, there's all sorts of things that can be. It could be yeast, it could be tannin, it could be alcohol. There are all these different components that are in the different beverages that you might have a bad reaction to. Now, I don't drink wine just because I don't like it. I don't have any particular reaction. I've got some port there. I was thinking, it's been sitting there for ages. I don't mind just sipping port. That's not bad. But you can make some good cocktails with port as well. I think maybe next live stream I'll make I'll make a port cocktail. And for that, I mean, there's probably some port cocktails in my book. Look in the guide, but if I just do a quick search on port cocktail, see what recipes come up. 7 potent pork cocktails. That's what we want, a potent pork. Why am I saying pork? A pig cocktail. Pork soaked strawberry spritz. All right, so soaking strawberries in port. White port, okay. White port and tonic. See, it's gin and tonic. Technically a cocktail. Is it though? Is it? Doing the Thor face, is it? Yeah. Port Royale. Oh, mezcal. Mezcal with tawny port. Damn, that could be a goer. That's called a Port Royal. A black cup. Okay. Valentino's Delight. Ew, Kahlua, gross. Bourbon, port, and Kahlua. Wow, okay. Port elderflower. Okay, I've got some elderflower liqueur. Coffee martini, fuck off, hate coffee. All right, I'm going to check out a couple of these. The port elderflower cocktail. What's in that? Because I have elderflower liqueur. What's in it? Takes so long to get recipe. Well, it's got rum. All right, fucking that's done. I reckon we might make this on Thursday night. Rum, port, and elderflower liqueur. Fuck, that sounds good. Now the other contender. Let's see, what's in a Port Royal? 404. Damn. What's in a black cup? Alternative to a Pim's cup. It's a strawberry, simple syrup, port, lemon juice, and lemonade. Club soda, as the Americans like to call it. In Australia, we just call that lemonade. What Americans call lemonade, which is actually lemony stuff, we all call traditional lemonade or lemon squash. Little cultural differences, aren't they fun? That's port and lemonade, basically. Why won't this one? Why is it 404ing? It's your own goddamn website. Fix mezcal and no. I reckon. Okay. Someone remind me on Thursday. I reckon I will make the port, and it's such a boring name, port elderflower cocktail. It's bourbon, port, and elderflower. We also have to come up with a better name for it than that, because that's a really boring name. Port of call. That's gin and port and lemon juice and syrup and cranberry. We need to come up with a better name for something that's bourbon and port and elderflower, because port elderflower cocktail is shit. That's such boring. A New York sour, New York Collins, rye, lemon, and sugar. Cocktail shaker with ice, rye, lemon, simple syrup, and port. See, that's like a whiskey sour with port. I think I've made that before. A New York Collins. Loogie Black Pearl. I like that. That is a good name, because it will be a dark drink with bourbon and port. It will be a dark drink. Sweater weather. That's a tea. A tea made with a port flip. That's one with an egg. That's rum, port, syrup, and egg. I could be convinced to try that too, a port flip. Rum, port, simple syrup, and an egg. Damn. Yeah, see, it's good. Jessica, you're back. Welcome back. Keiko, I did actually play with the camera settings. Thank you for noticing, because I usually look pale and washed out AF, and I changed the camera settings a bit to make it a bit warmer. I'm glad you think me and Mimsy are popping. Natalie, old man's belch. That is a funny but not particularly appealing name for a drink. Oh, where are we going, Mimsy? You're going to jump down on me? Why not stay up there? Why do you have to jump on me? No, do not go over there. That's bad, cat. Don't go on the kitchen counter. You're very bad. Don't do that. Yes. Ah, I like that, Natalie. A reason for it. Bourbon and port sounds like burp. Yes. Elderflower, old man. I like that. I like the structure. Old man's belch. Yeah, no, you're right, Neg. She's no kitchen counter, Mimsy. Bad. She wants to like go over to there's some dishes in the sink. She wants to go over to the sink and like lick the plates, or water, because there's I've rinsed the plates a bit. There's some water on. She lick water. Like she loves getting in the shower after I've been in the shower and licking the water off the floor of the shower, which I find disconcerting, because I think she's like getting a taste for human soup or something, and then I don't trust her. That seems very unreliable, that she's got a taste for human soup. So I actually put a in the bathroom to try and distract her, to put a jug with water there, so she'll just drink that instead. She'd go, well, I don't think she'd like it if I threw her in water, Jessica. But after I'm finished in the shower, she goes in and looks. Sorry, I'm talking, and I'm just reading Bob Wash's comment. You took a photo of one of your cats curled up in a cold frying pan, and people were outraged. That's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. Both the cat curled up in a frying pan, and you took a photo, and that people were outraged by it. That's absolutely fucking hilarious. And boring people go fuck off. I remember when the other cat in our house, Shadow, was a kitten. She was always getting in. I've actually posted a bunch of videos, and these are from about, I don't know if it was 7 years ago or 8 years ago. We got Shadow. She was just a kitten, and she's been cute and stuff. But she decided one of those clothes drying racks, and she's determined she was going to climb on it. And she'll get off, and because it's really hard to climb on, and so she's fucking hanging off the lines of it and whatnot. And so I got a funny video of her climbing all over it, and I got shared on what was a popular meme site at the time, particularly for cat-related things, the Icon has cheeseburger thing, which I think died completely after being really popular for a few years. And there were some comments from people saying, like, you're being cruel to the cat, you deliberately put it there, it's in pain or the, and some of the cat people are going, let's just ignore the trolls. The only person who would make a comment like that is someone who doesn't have a cat, because anyone who has a cat knows cats just do this shit, and you can't stop them. You can put all your effort into stopping the cat from climbing on things that it is a bad idea to climb on, and they will just do it because that's what cats do. Anyone stupid enough to say, well, the cat didn't do it on its own, you did that to it, you're torturing it, they just don't have a cat. They don't know what cats do. I also videos of Shadow climb the Christmas tree. We had a Christmas tree set up, and she loved just climbing into the Christmas tree and playing with the decorations and being in amongst the lights. So yeah, I went through a phase. I put a lot of I think it was about half a dozen cute kitten videos, because Shadow was being very photogenic when she was a little kid. Mimsy was never a little kitten. We got her, she was over a year old. She'd already had a litter of kittens. In fact, so she was still a juvenile, but she wasn't a kitten. The shelter where we got both of them, in fact, a few years apart, it's an animal hospital in Melbourne called the Lord Smith Animal Hospital. Both rescue cats. They were just calling her mummy cat because she actually had a litter of kittens. After she delivered the kittens, they gave her the op so it wouldn't happen again, because all the animals you get from Lord Smith have been desexed, the rescue animals that they desex. And oh, excuse me. But Mimsy had already had a litter of kittens when we got her, and they were calling her mummy cat. Then when we were thinking, what do we call her? I came up with Mimsy because it sounded like what they were already calling her mummy. And yeah, from the line from the Jabberwock, all Mimsy and the Borogoves. And it stuck, so she's Mimsy. I named Shadow too because I'm just the cat namer. Hi, Jessica, you're like, yeah, Lord Smith are great. You get cats and dogs and whatnot from there. So Mimsy, who is quite old, and Mrs. Angry is somewhat prone to draw Mimsy's attention to the fact that she's old. And you'll die one day. I don't usually say it, did that? But yes, we'll probably if Mimsy shuffles off this mortal coil, as everyone does at some point, we'll probably replace her. Get another kitten from Lord Smith. Oh, good God. That's a nice random one, Natalie. You did cough medicine recreationally. It made you pick. Yes, cough medicine is, while it can both make you drunk and make you hallucinate, it's got stuff in that's meant to really discourage you from drinking in excess, and you will tend to throw. One of the funniest ones I had years ago, when I was at uni, I did work experience at Triple J, and one of the guys who's a producer there, I was working with him, and he referred to this cold and flu medicine. I forget what it was, probably not on the market anymore, but he said this particular cold and flu medicine is in pill form, and he said, like, I think it was 17, it was somewhere between 13 and 17 of them. He said, take 17 of these and you'll be off your tree. You will hallucinate, and I mean the most vivid hallucinations, and they're not just visual, they're tactile. You'll think you can touch these things that you're seeing. And the fact that he said this number, which was a really unusual, no, don't, Mimsy's trying to go on the counter again. The number he said was, it spoke to quite a lot of experimentation, which can't be healthy. So, okay, it's 10 o'clock and I'm yawning, so I'm going to go. But yes, just the way he said, oh yeah, you take 17 of these and you'll hallucinate like nobody's business. I thought, wow, dude, that speaks to so much experimentation. Yeah, pseudoephedrine. In the decent cold and flu medicine, they have pseudoephedrine in them, which is a lab-created amphetamine. Like ephedrine actually comes from a plant, I think. Pseudoephedrines are illegal, but pseudoephedrine is legal in some medications. It's basically what they do. Anyway, on that note, hallucinating on cold and flu medicine, I'm going to bid you fine people farewell. And as usual, had a great time. Thank you one and all for joining in. I hope you have a good week. Hope you look after yourselves. Hope to see you again soon. And if I remember, I'm going to make a port-based cocktail on Thursday night, just for something to do. Use up my port, because there's a little bit of port that's been there for ages because I haven't been drinking it. So take care, one and all. I will see you again soon. And Mimsy says goodbye. Yes, Mimsy's come up to say goodbye. I will see you later, one and all. Take care and bye for now.